So this past weekend, we saw Charles Do Bronx Oliveira, or should I say Predator, which I don't know how I feel about that name, but it clearly worked because the man came out with a brand new energy. He looked fantastic. He took a note from Alex Pereira's playbook and came out on the offensive, bullied his opponent, and finished that fight in the second round against a really tough Mateusz Gamrot. He looked fantastic. He bullied Mateusz Gamrot. He looked awesome. And after the fight, he called out Max Holloway. Notice he avoided calling out Ilia Topuria because Ilia Topuria is the man. And I think Charles is scared to fight Ilia Topuria again because why else wouldn't he call him out for a rematch? But he called out Max Holloway for the BMF, and that fight would be electric. Incredible, fantastic. Both former featherweights that have made an incredible legacy for themselves. They are legends of the sport, and that fight would be awesome. The fight that I want to see, however, the fight that I feel like would be an incredible matchup because of the parity in ground game is Charles Oliveira versus Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. That fight would be awesome. Paddy the Baddy is a really, really skilled ground expert, and I think him versus Charles would make for an electric fight because Paddy can bang on the feet. He leaves his chin up a lot, which is why I think Topuria would absolutely demolish him so quickly. He leaves his chin up way too much, and I think he would try to rectify that in preparation for a fight against Ilia Topuria or even against Charles Oliveira, because Charles can crack as well. But I think Paddy versus Charles would be incredible. Now, I'm curious because they announced recently, and I'm not sure if it's actually official yet, but it seems from credible sources that this fight is going to happen. Ilia Topuria is going to defend his belt against Justin Gaethje on the first Paramount card. It seems like that's going to be the fight that's going to happen. So that leaves Max Holloway and Paddy without a fight. So you would think that these two guys would be matched up. And honestly, I hope they are matched up because that fight would be awesome. And I really, truly have no idea of who I think is going to win that matchup because although Max is going to surely have the advantage on the feet, Paddy surely has the advantage on the ground, and it's one of them battles where it's like you don't know what you're going to get until you combine these two guys and see really what happens. So that fight's awesome. Then, of course, we have Arman Tsarukyan, who in my opinion is the true number one contender. He really screwed himself over by pulling out last minute. The UFC's been punishing him, and he's fighting Dan Hooker. And that fight's going to be great. I do see Tsarukyan getting that victory. But apparently that is the number one contender fight, so whoever wins that fight should fight Ilia Topuria next, as long as Ilia defeats Justin Gaethje, which I do believe he will. Really interesting stuff in this lightweight division. There's no clear-cut guy besides for Tsarukyan, but Tsarukyan, obviously, like I mentioned, since he pulled out, he kind of really knocked himself a couple rungs down. There's no clear-cut guy that absolutely deserved the title shot. So although I don't think Justin Gaethje is the most deserving 155er on planet Earth to fight Ilia Topuria, I do think it does make sense. There's no other guy that really you could make an argument for. I would have loved to see Max Holloway rematch Ilia Topuria at 155 because maybe that would have created a different dynamic. But as long as Max gets his victory, as long as things go according to plan, I do think we will see Max versus Ilia down the road at 155. But because the lightweight division's in a weird place with not a lot of top contenders, Justin Gaethje makes sense to be a sacrificial lamb for Ilia Topuria. I'm surprised they didn't just try to feed him Paddy because obviously Paddy's a huge draw, but I'm glad that at least Justin Gaethje, he's getting that one last chance, and I do think it's going to end really badly for him. I do think he's going to get knocked out again. But maybe not. You never know. That's why we love this sport. And if you love this sport, subscribe to my channel. If you love MMA, if you love mixed martial arts, you have to subscribe to my channel. I promise to keep pumping out great content for you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, stay tuned for the next one. MMT out.